So the chapter that we were studying is acids, bases, and salts. So did you all try the NCERT for this chapter? Do you have any doubts? Were there any doubts that you faced? So anyone having any doubts, please. Okay, there is one hand raised. Yes, Akshita.
Sir, sir,
Yes.
how can we identify that acid is a strong acid or a weak acid, and in the same way, base is a strong one and a weak one?
Okay, so there are common examples like the all the mineral acids, okay, like hydrochloric acid, sulfuric acid, nitric acid. These type of acids are all strong. And when talking about weak acids, all the acids which occur organically, okay, like the ones which you find in fruits or any animal sting, they are the weak acids, okay.
Okay, sir. And in base?
And when talking about bases, the strong bases are generally again the same, like when we are talking about, first we will talk about strong bases. So bases like sodium hydroxide and potassium hydroxide, these bases are known as the strong bases, okay. And when talking about the weak bases, okay, you won't be encountering many weak bases. There won't be many weak bases that you'll find. So I'll give a few examples only, okay. When talking about weak bases, uh, I'll tell those which are important for you. NH3 is one which is important for you. This one is a weak base. And then one is NH4OH. Probably you'll be studying about only these two weak bases, okay? You won't encounter more. Okay?
Yes, sir.
So Adarsh has a doubt in question number 10. Just a moment and I'll take your hand raise. First I'll see Adarsh, the doubt he has, and then I'll take up your doubt, okay? So your doubt is on question number 10, which says that equal lengths of magnesium ribbon are taken in test tube A and B. Hydrochloric acid is added to test tube A while acetic acid is added to test tube B. In which test tube will the fizzing occur more vigorously and why? Okay, so yes, the answer to this is test tube A only. Okay, test tube A, as it has HCl, which is a strong acid. Okay, and as HCl is a strong acid, therefore more hydrogen gas is released at faster speed, okay, at faster speed, causing fizz. Okay, is it clear to you, Adarsh?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, Anne?
Uh, Sir, can you just explain? Yeah, sir, can you just explain the 10th question?
I just now explained the 10th question only, which says that the fizzing will occur strongly in test tube A as it has HCl, which is a strong acid, and therefore more hydrogen gas will be released at a faster speed, which will cause a fizz. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Any more doubt?
So in the
Just a moment.
so in the
Yes?
ninth question, we have to just name which like which solution, or you have to write the pH.
Okay. You just have to see over here what it is written is that solution A is at pH 4, solution B is at pH 1, solution C is at pH 11. So you need to write, suppose if you're writing the answer, how you need to write is you'll write neutral, then you write solution D with pH 7. Then strong alkaline, this will be solution C. Just a moment. Solution C with pH 11. And similarly, you will write all the answers. Okay. And is your doubt clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So next doubt we have is by Adarsh, who is asking question number 11. Okay. So the question number 11, it says that fresh milk has a pH of 6. Okay. How do you think the pH will change as it turns into curd? Curd. Explain your answer. Okay. So what happens is when we know the pH of milk is 6. Okay. As it changes into curd, we all know as it changes to curd, it is because the bacteria causes or leads to the formation of acids. Okay. Formation of acid which causes curding. Therefore, pH will decrease because of the acid present. Is it clear now?
Yes, clear. Yes, clear.
Okay. Any other doubts? Anyone?
No, sir. No, sir. No.
Okay, so with if you guys don't have any doubts, then we are done with the exercises. Now we'll be discussing the in-text ones. Okay, now we'll discuss the in-text questions. So moving on to the in-text questions, the first question that we have, okay, that is, you have been provided with 3 test tubes. Okay, one of them contains distilled water, one contains distilled water, and the other 2 contain acidic and basic solution. Okay, contain acidic and basic solution respectively. Now if you are given one red litmus paper, how will you identify the content? Okay, anyone who wants to try, please raise your hand. Okay, there is one hand raised. Just a moment. Yes, Piyush.
So first we will dip the litmus paper in the distilled water.
What
We will
can you?
first we will
You're not audible, Piyush. Can you send your answer through chat? You're not audible, so I'll take the next hand raise. Yes, Vipul.
So when we dip red litmus paper into distilled water, there will be no change.
Okay.
When we dip it in acidic, then also there will be no change. But when we dip it in basic solution, then it will turns into blue.
Okay, that's correct. Okay, so anyone who is not clear with this question, anyone who's having a problem in this?
Well, it's like we have to find which what.
Yes, we have to find. So what we'll do is we'll take our litmus paper. Okay. Then if the color changes to blue in a solution, then we'll be sure that it is a base. Okay.
Oh, okay, sir.
So what happens is we'll take the 3 test tubes and we'll mark them as A, B, and C. Okay. Then
Okay,
we
sir.
take a drop from A test tube and we put it on the red litmus paper. Okay. And then we take a drop from B and then we take a drop from C. We take 1 drop from every test tube. Okay. So either the color will change to blue. If it changes to blue, okay, then it is acid. Then it is base. If the color changes
Yes.
to blue, and the remaining 2, it can either be acidic or it can be neutral. So what we do is step 1 we'll do is put 1 drop of each on red litmus. If color changes to blue, if color changes to blue, then it is base. Okay. Just a moment. Drishti has also joined us just now. Okay, so she'll turn on the audio and then I'll repeat once again for now. Okay, so this is, and the other two which we are left with, it will either be acid or neutral, right? So what we do next is we take the base and we add half the base into acidic solution into one solution and the other half into one solution. Okay, so now what we do is we again put a drop onto the red litmus paper. So if the paper changes to blue, then the solution will be neutral. Okay, what we do is, second step, we take our basic solution, we divide it into half and we add it to the other two, which can be neutral or it can be acidic. Okay, so when basic mixes with neutral, the solution becomes basic, and this will remain acidic only because the content of acid will be more, as we are only mixing half the base. Okay, so over here again, whichever will turn the red litmus paper into blue will be neutral and the other one will be acidic. Okay, so I hope it's clear to you all now.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Akshita, is it clear to you now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's good. So anyone having any doubts in this? Okay, I feel it's clear to you all. Okay, so I feel it's, this one is okay. There is one question. Adarsh is asking question number 8. Okay, so the question number 8 is, why do acids not show acidic behavior in the absence of water? Okay, so the question is, why do acids not show acidic behavior in absence of water? Does anyone want to try this? Anyone who wants to try this? Okay, so when we are discussing this, that is, why do acids not show acidic behavior in absence of water? Okay, so the answer will be, acids don't show acidic behavior Yes, Bhavika has given one answer saying that, I guess, because it won't give out hydrogen ions. That's correct. Okay, so acids don't show acidic behavior in absence of water because hydrogen ions are formed only in the presence of water, and it is the hydrogen ion. Okay, so either you can write this or hydrogen ion, they both mean the same, which is responsible for the acidic behavior. Okay, which is responsible for Is it clear to you now? What happens is,
Yes, sir.
okay, that's good. So what happens is exactly that whenever we mix any acid with water, then only it releases hydrogen ion, and hydrogen ion is responsible for acidic behavior. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so anyone having any other doubts? So for those who have just now joined, we are just discussing the in-text questions and the doubts which you had in the exercise. So the first in-text question that we discussed was that we have 3 test tubes, okay, and the one contains distilled water and the other 2 contain acidic and basic solutions respectively. Now we have to find out, we have just one red litmus paper, we have to identify all the solutions. So what we do is, first thing we do is we take one drop from each test tube and put it on the red litmus. So whichever solution turns the red litmus paper blue, it will be base. Okay, so we found the base among the 3. Now we have 2 and we don't know which one is neutral and which one is acidic. So what we do is we take our basic solution and we add half of it into neutral into one and half of it into the other one. So the one which will be neutral will now turn into a basic solution, okay? And the one which was acidic, it will remain acidic only because there is more amount of acid when compared to base. So after doing this, again we put one drop of each onto the red litmus paper, and whichever changes the red litmus to blue, we can say that the solution was neutral. Okay, is it clear to you? Drishti, is it clear to you? You just now joined. So is this question clear to you? Okay, so now moving ahead, we discussed the next question, that was, why do acids not show acidic behavior in the absence of water? So anyone having any doubts in that question? Okay, I see no doubts. Yes, anyone?
No, sir.
Okay, so as there are no doubts, we'll move to the next question. That is, why should curd and sour substances, why should curd and sour substances not be kept in brass and copper vessels? Okay, does anyone want to try this answer? Anyone? Okay, so I have this answer by Atharv, which is curd and sour substances contain acid which react with copper and brass. That's absolutely correct. There's a hand raise also. Yes, Adarsh?
Sir, uh, acidity present in the bacteria lead to formation of acid.
Okay, that's correct. But this is not the question.
Bacteria.
We are just asking that why should curd and sour substances not be stored in brass and copper vessels? Okay, so that's some other question you are answering. So Akshita, I'll pass it on to you. Just a moment. Yes, Akshita.
So, when curd and sour substances reacts with metal, it produces salt and hydrogen. Here, the salt produced is toxic in nature, so it is not good for our health.
Yeah, they can be harmful, and they can spoil the food, so we don't store curd and sour substances. That's absolutely correct. So for writing down this answer, it'll be I'll write this down for you, that curd and other sour substances contain acid. Okay. Now, while studying acids, we studied that these acids, they react with metals. Okay. So therefore, brass and copper, they are highly reactive metals, react with the food which is acidic in nature to liberate hydrogen gas and harmful products. Which can spoil the food. Okay, is it clear to you all now? Anyone having any problem?
Yes, sir. No, sir.
Okay, so we'll move ahead on to the next question. Is it clear to you all, everyone? Okay, so now we'll move ahead on to the next question. I'll be just taking up those questions in which I feel you can have doubt. Okay, because most of the questions we have discussed during the lecture only. So I'll be taking up the questions which I'll be feeling which I feel can be new to you. Okay, so now the question that we have is, why does HCl gas not change the color of the dry litmus paper? Anyone? Anyone who wants to try this? Okay, there is a hand raised by Akshita. Yes, Akshita.
So, the question is why dry HCl don't change the color of the dry litmus paper.
Yeah.
So the dry HCl gas don't have H2O, and the dry
Yes.
litmus paper doesn't show any color. That doesn't change any color in the absence of H2O.
Okay, so what happens basically is that the HCl, in the absence of water, there will be no hydrogen ions. Okay, and thus it won't be acidic, because we just now in the previous in the last in the second last answer we had seen that it is the hydrogen ion which is responsible for the acidic behavior. Okay, so if there is no water, there won't be any hydrogen ion, so there will be no acidic nature, and therefore it won't change the color. Okay, so for the answer it will be something like this, that color of litmus paper is changed by the hydrogen ion. Okay, is changed by the hydrogen ion. So dry HCl gas does not have any hydrogen ion which is produced only in the presence of water. Therefore, dry HCl gas does not change the color of dry litmus paper. Okay. So is it clear to you all? Anyone having any doubts? So what we discussed just now is that why does HCl gas not change the dry HCl gas? Okay, you just missed it. Dry HCl gas does not change the color of the dry litmus paper. So what happens is the color change of the litmus, it is just caused by the hydrogen ions. Okay, so the dry HCl gas does not have any hydrogen ion, as we have studied that the hydrogen ion is produced in the presence of water only. Therefore, the dry HCl gas, it does not change the color of the dry litmus paper. But if we wet the litmus paper, then the color will be changed as water is present. Okay, so is it clear to you all now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the next question that we'll be discussing is, while diluting an acid, so can anyone tell me how do we dilute an acid? I told you this. Can anyone tell? Okay, Piyush has a hand raise. Yes. Yes, Piyush. Just a moment. Yes, Piyush.
Sir, we will take water in a container,
Yes.
then we will add the acid or base in it.
Yeah, that's correct. And why don't we add water into acid?
Sir, because it will react and the energy will release.
Okay, so that's correct. Adarsh, you've got the correct answer, so no need to. You've got the answer, but still, if you want to try, you can send your answer through chat. Okay. So while diluting an acid, why it is recommended that the acid should be added to water and not water to acid. Okay, so when talking about this, what happens is the process of dissolving acid into water is exothermic in nature. Okay, so what happens is the acid should be added to water, because in the other way there will be a huge amount of energy or heat that will be generated, and which can cause the mixture to splash and can cause burns. Okay, so I'll write this down for you. Okay, so the answer is, as the process of dissolving acid into water is exothermic. You know what exothermic is?
Sorry, is the reaction in which heat is produced.
Yes, that's correct. Any reaction in which heat is released is known as exothermic reaction. Okay, so it is recommended to add acid into water as adding water to acid can cause large amount of heat release which can cause the mixture to splash and cause burns. Okay, is it clear to you all? Anyone having any doubts in this?
No, sir.
Okay. So I'll wait for a couple of minutes. You can note this down. Okay. Okay. So I guess you all must have noted it. Now moving ahead. The next question that we have. Okay, I'll be discussing the questions, but is there any question in which you guys have any doubt? Anyone? So I guess you all have understood everything in this chapter. So in the next class or next to next class, we'll have a test of this. Akshita, yes, you have a hand raised. Yes, Akshita.
Sir, there is in-text question in page number 28. So
Yeah.
the fourth question I have doubt.
Can you just tell me how that is, what will happen if the solution of sodium hydrocarbonate, that one?
Yes, yeah. Under what soil condition do you think a farmer could treat that one?
Okay, yeah, I got that. I'll explain that to you. So the question is, under what soil condition do you think a farmer would treat the soil in his field the soil in his field with quicklime lime, that is calcium oxide, quicklime or slaked lime, or chalk. Okay, so all these compounds that we have noticed over here, that is quicklime, slaked lime, or chalk, they all are basic in nature. Okay, so the answer to this will be, if the soil becomes acidic, in nature, then farmer would treat the soil with these compounds. Okay, I hope you understand, Akshita. To increase basicity. Is it clear to you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any more doubts, anyone?
Sir, another question. What will happen if a solution of sodium hydrocarbonate is heated? Give the equation of the reaction involved.
Okay. I'll just tell that. But I have a question by Bhavika in through the chat. She's asking the pH of acid rain. So the pH that you have mentioned, 5.6, it is the pH for slightly acidic. But whenever and there are strong acids like whenever there are gases like sulfur dioxide or nitrogen dioxide from automobiles or power plants, then the pH can go down to 4 also. Okay, so it's generally between 5 to 5.5, which is slightly acidic, the clean rain. Okay, it has the pH of 5 to 5.5, but the acid rain which you are talking about, the pH can go down to 4. Okay, so now I'll take the other doubt by Akshita, that is, just a moment. Okay, so the question is, what will happen if solution of sodium hydrogen carbonate is heated? Give equation of the reaction. Okay, now talking about this, so when a solution of sodium hydrogen carbonate is heated, what happens is sodium carbonate and water are formed, and carbon dioxide gas is evolved. So the reaction will be something like this. That is, I'll write the balanced equation directly. Sodium hydrogen carbonate, we are heating it, we get sodium carbonate plus water, and CO2 gas is evolved. Okay, so this is the reaction that will be happening when a solution of sodium hydrogen carbonate is heated. Okay. Is it clear, Akshita?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So any other doubts, anyone? Okay, so one more thing I had to tell you all, that whosoever who is not on the WhatsApp group for the live classes, they are requested to please WhatsApp us on this number. We will add you in the group, and in the group only you will be provided information about the classes, okay, the timetable and everything. So please WhatsApp us on this number and we'll provide you all the details. Okay. And for those who have joined just now, who are having their first or second classes, I just want them to raise their hand once, who are having their first or second class. Okay, Atharv is new over here, and I guess Drishti is also new over here, and Ravinder is also new. So I'll just unmute you guys once. Okay, so did you guys just go through the videos as I had suggested you?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any problem in this chapter? Anything you want to learn about?
No, sir.
Okay,
No,
so
sir.
Athar, Drishti, is it clear to you too?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so are you guys comfortable giving the exam if we have it in the next class, or should I wait for one more class? You can ask your doubts for this chapter, and then in the next class we'll have the exam. Okay, what are you guys comfortable with?
So next to next class.
Okay, sure. So you guys can go on to the YouTube channel and you can see the videos, and everyone else also please go on to the YouTube channel for revision. You can see the previous class videos and try solving as many questions as you can, and then in the next class again I'll take up the doubts, but if there are not much doubts, we'll start with the new chapter, and next to next class we'll have an exam for you guys. And for anyone who's not able to find the videos of previous classes, please WhatsApp us on this number which I have written on screen. Okay, so for any information you want, please WhatsApp us and we'll help you out. Okay, so
Okay, sir.
for today, anyone having any doubts? Okay, Anne has a hand raise.
So I wasn't there
Yes.
for the first class, class for the first chapter. I came
O-
from second class onwards. So,
okay.
sir, I'm having a doubt in the NCRT seventh question.
Okay, so I'll take up your doubt in the next class only. Okay, because or else can you dictate me the question once?
So, write the balanced chemical equations for the following reaction. The first one is calcium hydroxide plus carbon dioxide, which reacted calcium carbonate plus water, and the second question is zinc plus silver nitrate, which reacted to zinc nitrate and plus silver.
Okay, so the first one was calcium carbonate plus water, right?
Yes, sir.
So over here, if we see the reaction, you all know how to balance any reaction.
Yes, sir. By drawing the
Table, right?
table, yeah.
So what we do is we'll draw a table. This will be our reactant side. This will be the product side. And here we'll write our elements. Okay. So now what we'll do is first we'll write calcium. Then we have hydroxide. and also we have carbon. Just a moment. Carbon, oxygen, and hydrogen. We'll write it like this. Okay, so calcium, both have one calcium. Okay, when talking about oxygen, there are three oxygens. When talking about carbon, there is one carbon over here and one carbon over here. When talking about oxygen, there are three oxygen and four oxygen over here. When talking about hydrogen, it's one over here and two over here. Okay. So now we need to balance. So for balancing this, just a moment. First of all, I want you all, whosoever has done this, to give me the answers. Okay. Everyone else, please try it once and give me the answer. Anyone who wants to try, please. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, anyone who wants to try? Okay, so okay, there are three hand raises. I'll give you guys a chance. Yes, Atharv, can you tell me, am I going right in this question? Is there, first of all, tell me, is there anything wrong till whatever we have done till
No,
now?
sir. No, sir. This equation is already in balance.
Is it already balanced? What is the chemical formula for calcium hydroxide, everyone?
So CaOH2.
Yes, so this is one mistake, right?
Oh yes.
Okay, so when again talking about this, we see that there are 4 and 2, right? So I guess there's no need to balance this as it is
Yes.
already balanced. Okay, is it clear to you?
Sir, our classes have started. So our teacher said that without doing this step, there's another way. So is it like uh,
See, you can do this in any way, whichever way you are comfortable with. Uh, I I told you this way as it makes it easier for you to calculate. Okay, but if you find the any other way easy, you can use that way to solve this answer. Okay.
okay, sir?
Okay, so the next one I want you to try on your own. That was of silver nitrate and zinc, right?
Yes, sir.
Uh, will you give it a try? If you are not able to solve it, try it. We'll discuss it in the next class.
Okay, sir.
Okay, but try it yourself once.
Okay, sir.
Anyone else having any doubt? Okay, so Akshita has asked that can you explain what is phenolphthalein? So phenolphthalein is also an indicator. Okay, phenolphthalein this is also an indicator. And can anyone tell what an indicator is?
So dictating
Just
thing which is used to dictate the whether the solution is acidic or basic.
yeah. So anything which helps in telling is the solution acidic or neutral. okay, or basic. So phenolphthalein is used as an indicator. Okay, so when it is acidic, it remains colorless. Okay, yes, Drishti, your answer is correct, which indicates the nature of the substance. It is an indicator. And when it is basic, it becomes pink. Okay, now you know what phenolphthalein is.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so any other doubts? No issues. If you are not, if you haven't completed the chapter now, you can study. We'll discuss in the next class also, and you can ask your doubts in the next class also. Okay, so don't worry. Okay, so for today, as I see no doubts, we'll end the class over here only. Please go through the videos on YouTube. Okay, you can also ask any questions that you have. You can ask in the comment section over there also. I'll reply you over there, or you can ask in the next class also. And also, if you think that if there should be any improvement or anything in the videos in the classes, you can mention there in the comment section. Okay, so for today we'll end here, everyone. Good night, take care. Okay, good night, everyone. We'll end the class now.
Okay, sir.